Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Denny Kelts with the Denny Kelts Show. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but you know what? I had to jump on here and share some stuff with you guys because I just got back from Scottsdale, Arizona about a week ago, and I was down there for a Mindcon event with Elliott and David Goggins. And there was a lot of really good takeaways. So, I want to share some of that with you because I know, some of you guys probably never go to that kind of stuff, and you know, it will be beneficial for you if you watch some of my stuff just to get a little bit of those tidbits and some of those takeaways that I got that hopefully can help you change your life for the better, right? I know some people don't like the personal development stuff for whatever reason, but I don't know what's going on with their brains, but everybody can grow, everybody can get better. At the end of the day, if you're not growing, you're dying. So that's why you got to go to these kind of things. You got to pay attention to what people are doing that you want to be like them. If they have a life that you want to obtain and they're doing things that you want to do, well, then you're going to have to emulate those people and pay attention to what they're doing. Okay. All right. Let me start with some of these takeaways. Okay. There's some really good stuff that I got here. So number one, the first thing is your circle is going to get a lot smaller as you change. So just remember that anytime you're doing anything that's out of the ordinary, your circle is going to change significantly. It's going to get a lot smaller. There's going to be a lot of people that don't understand exactly what you're doing and they don't agree with what you're doing because it's out of the norm. You're not doing the normal things that everybody else does and that society conditions you to do. You're not doing it anymore because you're like, you know what? I want to do something different because this is the real me coming out. Now, that's when things get tight, man. Like you're not going to have really you're not going to have a ton of friends anymore because a lot of those people, it's so hard to relate to them, right? So just remember, to be great, you're going to be misunderstood by everybody. And you got to be okay with that because people are going to misunderstand you and they're going to judge you. But the biggest thing, and this is what I really loved about David Goggins, is he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him because he does it for him. And he does it for the people that pay attention and actually get something from him and from what he says and what he preaches. And not even that, it's the way he lives his life. He's an example of human excellence. And yeah, I know he's a little bit psycho. He's a little bit psycho because he does like crazy stuff and he's like literally a machine. But it's not even that, it's the mentality. And if you can take even a little bit away from his psycho mentality, then guess what? You can implement that in your life and you can get a little bit better. And every single person watching this, every single person that goes on the internet and is on social media all the time, you're looking for something. You're looking for a way to get a little bit better. So that's one thing that you can do is pay attention to these people that are doing things that you want to do. Or if you want to be hard like David Goggins, like he always says, stay hard. Well, then guess what? You're going to have to start trying to do some of the things that he does. Like, at least 20%. And that's what he talks about. Take away 20% of his mentality. Don't take away 100% of it because obviously you're going to set yourself up for failure because he's grinded himself into that person over an extended period of time, over so much hard work and dedication and just grinding everything that he had to do. Okay. Now, another thing is not even you are going to understand you. So when you go through this process of trying to become the best version of yourself, right? This is all about your mentality at the end of the day, right? And this is why it was called the Mindcon event, because it's developing your mentality. Because the number one thing that holds people back from living the life that they actually want to live or reaching their true potential as a human being, it's their mentality. Every single time. It's only their mentality. Like there's nothing else. Your circumstances doesn't matter. There's people that have been in worse circumstances than you and have been in the craziest situations, grew up with next to nothing and like no handouts, and they're doing way better and they're more successful because they're not a victim. Okay. And here's another thing. I'm just going to spit off a bunch of stuff that he was saying. Look, over my dead body will I die with regrets. Don't be somebody who dies with regrets and just regrets the kind of life that you live and just looks back and you're on your deathbed and you're like, ah, man, I wish I would have tried this. I should have bet on myself and tried this. Like, you got to have some courage to go out and actually do something different and step out of the norm and don't just conform to society because That's what they want you to do. And that's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to conform to society when in reality, that's not who you're meant to be. Who you're meant to be is the person who steps out of their comfort zone and stretches themselves in order to become a better version of themselves. And the only way you're going to become a better version of yourself is if you stretch yourself and stretch out of your comfort zone. That's going to be the only way. Okay? Now, another thing is, I'm not going to disrespect my bloodline. So they talked a lot about that week when I was there being a bloodline breaker. Okay? What does that mean? That means you're not doing the exact same thing that's been conditioned into your family for God knows how long. And for however long they call it generational curses, right? Your family's been a certain way, grew up in a certain area, lived and died within a certain kilometer radius or mile radius from where they grew up. Like that's the norm. That's what normal people do. And that's not the life you want to live. Because I know you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I want to do more and I want to be more. I want to do something great. Well, that's part of it. You're going to be misunderstood by everybody. Your circle's going to get a lot smaller. There's going to be a lot of people throwing stones at you, hating on you, judging you. And none of that is going to matter at the end of the day. What matters is, what do you think about you? That's what matters. What do you think about you? Okay? And you attract greatness when you become great. So just remember that. Even when your circle is getting smaller, you're going to attract greatness. You're going to attract great people. All of a sudden, opportunities just come flowing into your life. And you're like, where did that even come from? And you know what? You just got to follow that. You just got to be like, you know what? I got faith that this is going to work out, and just trust your intuition and just go and follow whatever path that God has laid for you. Because when these surprise opportunities come out of nowhere for you, you got to jump on them and take advantage of them, right? And you got to have the right mentality. That's the only way you're going to be able to do that. So just remember that, okay? Now, another thing is, I'm addicted to breakthroughs. Now, what does that mean? I'm addicted to becoming a different version of myself and breaking through to that new identity and not being the same person that I was yesterday. Now, that's what a breakthrough is. When you break through that barrier of being the same person who's stagnant and is not doing anything different and just live the same life, the same day on repeat every single day. You drive to the same place, you see the same people, you eat the same food. Nothing changes. You're not growing and nothing looks any different. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. You got to be addicted to a breakthrough. Now, you get respect by becoming someone's example. Now, what people will respect you if you're a real example of human excellence. So if you're living as your highest expression on all accounts, let's say you're physically, mentally, spiritually, your finances are in order, you have a good home life, you have a good connection with your family, you have good relationships, all of those things are in order. Because you know what? You can have it all at the end of the day. You don't have to sell yourself short, and just because you're spending all this time at work and doing so well, and then all of a sudden your family life suffers and you don't spend any time with your wife, and you know all those things, you can have it all. It doesn't really matter. You just got to know how to manage your time, right? And you got to prioritize things and know what's important, okay? Now, your life is your responsibility, okay? And you're the gatekeeper to your mind. Now, I want to repeat that. Your life is your responsibility. You're the gatekeeper to your mind. Nobody else is the gatekeeper to your mind. Nobody is protecting your mind from the nonsense that the government and all this media and all that stuff is trying to like put into your head, right? And they're trying to do it when you're a kid, when you're at a young age, right? It's your job to be able to discern the information and know right from wrong, right? That's part of it. That's having that mentality. You got to have a strong mental state where you can discern right from wrong and not just be like, oh yeah, that sounds right. Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Mark Carney. Like that's an example, right? If you live in Canada, like you got to be able to really discern the information and not have people controlling your mind in that aspect, okay? Because it's your responsibility. You're the gatekeeper. Just remember that, okay? Now, scarcity creates value. Now, don't forget that. So, what do I mean by that? That means you got to be different. You got to be different than everybody else. If you keep doing the exact same thing that all these other people are doing, you're putting the same amount of effort, you're not doing anything creative, you're not innovating anything, then you're not going to be as valuable as the other people that are doing things out of the norm, right? And that's what you want to do if you want to be indispensable and become a linchpin, right? It's a great book. I'm almost done reading it. And that's somebody who's completely different than everybody else, and you basically make yourself indispensable. So a company's not going to want to lose you, and a company's going to want to acquire you because you're indispensable, which means you're different than everybody else. You're a rare breed. You're one of a kind. But it all comes down to your mentality, right? Mindcon, like I was just talking about. That's it, guys. That's it. You need to have the right mentality. I always talk about having the big dog mentality, right? I didn't always have a big dog mentality. I had to develop it over a period of time. When I was younger, when I was a kid, and I didn't have a lot of confidence, guess what? I had a little dog mentality. I didn't have the big dog mentality, but now I got the big dog mentality because I know who I am. And that's what you guys need. You need to know who you are right in here, in your heart, in your spirit, and your mind. Everything needs to be aligned, okay? Now, leadership is not a title. It's who you are, okay? I'm just blasting off a bunch from my notes here because everything was super fire. Look, your leadership is going to come down to who you become and who you are and the example you are to everybody around you. That's real leadership, okay? Leadership is not a title. Being a manager and being above people and being able to try to control people and manipulate people and using fear-mongering and trying to like scare people into doing things that you want them to do, that's not real leadership. So just remember, you got to be the example. Even if you're not in a leadership role, you're still a leader at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what you guys are doing. You're a leader in your household. You're a leader in your community. You're a leader to your spouse. You're a leader to your younger siblings. If you have kids, you're a leader to your kids. It doesn't matter, guys. You're always going to be a leader. Leadership is important. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your life. It's a skill that you need to develop. But you just got to remember, it's a mentality at the end of the day, okay? Stand out and be different. Make relationships that others can't. Again, back to the linchpin thing that I was telling you guys about and being indispensable. You got to be different than everybody else. If you keep doing the exact same thing, nobody's going to want to recruit you. Nobody's going to want you as a part of their team because you're not different than anybody. You're the same. You're the same as everybody else, which means you're like a cog in a wheel. That means you're so replaceable. It's so easy to replace you. Like they can just grab somebody because, oh yeah, they just plug you in and you just keep doing the exact same thing because you're not doing anything different. So you got to think outside of the box and do things different. So you're not just a cog in a wheel. So you're like in a machine, because guess what? That's what they're trying to do with AI and stuff like that. So you got to start working on some new skills. But the only way you're going to start working on those new skills is you got to start working on yourself first, which is that mentality, Mindcon. Like I was telling you, that's obviously what we're talking about here. Okay? Going to the top is never about you. It's about how many people you bring to the top with you, okay? This is leadership. It's not about going to the top by yourself and being up there and looking down on everybody. It's about who you can bring up to the top with you, okay? If you're climbing a mountain, you're climbing the mountain of success. You know how much better it feels when you get up there and you help some other people get up there with you and you can share the spoils with them and you can have a community of like-minded people and people that you can trust and people that have your back and they're not going to betray you and they're not going to let you down, right? How amazing is that? That's what real leadership is bringing everybody else up with you. How many people can you bring across the finish line with you? Not just you running across the finish line by yourself and not worrying about anybody else. What about the other people that you need to help out? Bring them across the finish line. Okay, that's real leadership. Now, become a legacy carrier, right? We're talking about this. Guys, I know there's something going on in your head. You're like, man, I know I'm different. Like, I just know I'm different. I'm meant for more. Like, you know, some people, they don't think like that, right? Who cares about those people? And who cares what they think? What do you think? Do you think that you're a legacy carrier? Do you think that you're a bloodline breaker? Do you think you're somebody that's going to break the generational curses of your family and you're not just going to be the same as every other family member that has the same last name as you? Are you going to be somebody that's going to be different? That's a legacy carrier, right? And that's going to go on for generations and they're going to remember your name. That's who you want to be. You don't want to just be a normal person, just like everybody else, cog in a wheel. That's what the devil wants you to be. He just wants you to conform. Don't do that, okay? What else? You will never change until you own your shit. Who you become is everything. Okay, yeah, that's a big thing, man. You're never gonna change until you own your shit. Like if you look at somebody and you're trying to blame everybody for what's going on with you, and you're trying to blame everybody for your circumstances. This person did this to me, and poor me, man. Why did this have to happen? Oh my God, I lost this, I lost that. That's having a victim mentality. That is the wrong mentality. You got to own your shit and you got to take responsibility for it, because you're the only person who's responsible for your life. And everything starts, like I said, in your mind. So don't even forget that, okay? Now, I'm not selling out for the way I want to live. There's another one, okay? I'm not selling out for the way I want to live. What that means is you guys have morals and values and principles that you're not going to compromise no matter what. No matter what the price tag is, okay? I don't care what the price tag is. I'm not going to sell my soul. My soul is not for sale, man. Money's not the only thing that's important. And you guys got to remember that, man. So many of you guys are just stuck doing something just for money, and you have no purpose. You have no fulfillment, okay? Don't sell your soul for money, okay? It's not worth it. It's not worth it, okay? Now, sacrifice for what you want, or what you want becomes the sacrifice. Man, that is a killer one. If you don't sacrifice your time, energy, resources in order to become the person that you want to be, the person that you want to be is going to become the sacrifice. So just remember that, okay? If you're not willing to sacrifice things in order to get to the life that you actually want, well then guess what? The life that you actually want is going to become the sacrifice. Just remember that, okay? And I know that's not what you want because you're watching this video. Every day go to war against the old you. Every single day. That's what I learned from David Goggins, man. He talks about keeping your finger on the trigger. That's what he talks about. Keeping your finger on the trigger of life. Obviously, he was an ex-Navy SEAL, if you know who he is. But keeping the finger on the trigger of life, which means you keep grinding. Every single day, you keep grinding. Like, think back to when you first started something. You were super excited and you were fired up and you were just grinding so hard every day. And you just woke up like, man, I gotta get to work. I gotta get to doing this. Like, keep that chip on your shoulder and keep doing it every day. Don't let your foot off the gas and don't let your finger off the trigger, because that's when you start to go back to your old self. And when you start go back to your old self, you start to regress, and guess what? You're starting to die. Because like I always say, if you're not growing, you're dying. So just remember that, guys. Keep that finger on the trigger, which means every single day, you got to have some urgency. Don't let your foot off the gas, like I just said, okay? Every day go to war against the old you. Now, do what you don't want to do. So what I mean by that, that means things that are difficult that you don't want to do. You're like, man, I don't want to do that. Like a lot of times, I don't want to do legs with my trainer because he just murks me. This guy's a psycho, right? But anytime I have that thought that crosses my mind, I'm like, man, like I got to do legs when I'm going to see my trainer. And I'm like, and then I'm okay, I got to do legs. I'm going to have to do legs, right? So then I make sure I go and I do legs, and he crushes my legs, and I always feel so much better after, because it's what I didn't want to do, but I pushed myself out of my comfort zone because I knew it was going to be difficult. But guess what? The difficult things are what builds you into the man or woman that you want to be. Okay? Just remember that. It's the difficult things. Okay? Now, here's another question you got to ask yourself. If I do this thing, will I respect myself more? Okay? Anytime you have a decision to make, if you're about to do something, if I do this thing, if I make this move, if I make this decision, will I respect myself more after I make this decision, after I do this thing that I'm thinking about doing? Okay, you're about to reach for that donut. Think about it. Am I going to respect myself more after that? Or am I going to respect myself more if I drink some water instead? Or if I eat something clean? That's what you got to really think about. Now, if you audit yourself and self-reflect every time and analyze right before you're about to do something, before you make a decision, well, that's going to give you an opportunity to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I won't do this. And then your higher self, the stronger version in your mind, is going to jump out. Because remember, it's a war. You're at war against the weaker version of yourself every single day. Every single day you get out of bed, you're at war against the weaker self. That's it. Okay? Don't ever forget that. And look, operate like if someone is watching you 24/7 and they would send footage to everyone you know. Okay? Or everyone that you love. Now, what would you do? So if somebody had a video camera on you every single day, 24/7, okay, what would you do? What would you be doing? Would you be doing the same thing that you're doing now? Or would you be grinding even harder because you know people are watching, right? You know the people that love you and respect you and admire you are watching and they're analyzing what you're doing. Because you got to remember, especially you guys, if you have kids, if you're planning to have kids or anything like that, they're going to watch everything you do. Monkey see, monkey do. Have you ever heard that? That's what happens with kids. Like a lot of times you can see man, I remember I went to the Philippines and I saw this fat Japanese guy with his kids. And his kids were super young. And man, this guy was super fat and out of shape. But his kids were little fatties too, man. Like it was crazy, right? But like that's because, man, monkey see, monkey do. Your kids are going to watch everything that you're going to do and they're going to want to be like you. Like, oh, well, dad's eating a bunch of Twinkies and drinking pop all the time. Like, I want to drink some pop. I want to eat some Twinkies, right? Or is the dad in shape, you know, working out all the time, hitting cold plunges, hitting the sauna, eating clean, drinking water, and taking care of their health, then okay, then the kid's obviously going to want to be like that. And then you got to keep that in mind, guys. You're a leader. You're leading everybody. Anybody that you see, anybody you work with, your kids, your family, everybody's looking at you as an example, okay? So just don't forget that. Now, if you fall, get your ass back up. This is a big one, man. If you fall, get your ass back up because, man, there's going to be so many times in your life where you fall and you get kicked in the teeth and you fall to the ground. Man, you just got to get back up. You just got to keep pushing forward. You got to keep that finger on the trigger like I was saying earlier. And don't just give up. Don't just lay in the dirt and die. Why would you do that? There's no point in doing that. Guys, you got to get back up. As soon as you fall, get your ass back up, okay? You don't have time for any of that. Now, build a movement to become a territory taker. That's another one, man. You got to build a movement. So if you're doing something, man, you want to spread positivity and change and love, and you got to build a movement that people can get behind, and then you got to take territories, which means if there's a bunch of negative people that are not living a good life and they hate themselves, man, you got to take that territory and infiltrate that and influence them in a positive way to where they're now living at a higher frequency and living a better life. And they're happier. They're living in the kingdom on earth because people don't remember that. Heaven or hell, guess what? It's on earth. You have the opportunity to live in heaven on earth. You can live in heaven on earth. And so I know some people maybe don't agree with that, but guess what? That's the reality of life. And there's a lot of people that are living in hell when they have the power right here to flip the switch, and then guess what? They can be living in heaven on earth instead of hell. Okay, so don't forget that. Another thing is chase the man, not the money. Be respected or be used. Just remember that. You got to become the person. You got to become the person that people will respect, and then they're not going to use you. They're not going to use you for anything because they respect you too much. They respect you because put some respect on my name. You know what I mean? You've proven yourself in so many different ways, and you have a presence to you. You have a certain energy, and you have a vibration, and people can feel it. And they're like, man, who is this guy? Like, I want to be around this guy. That's who you want to be. You don't want to be just a regular person just like everybody else, okay? I'm going to tell you that many times, okay? Okay, he talked about this too. Haters are like the little bells in Hell Week. So what they do with those little bells is they get you to ring they ring the bell right next to you, and they try to get you to grab it. And if you grab it and ring the bell, that means you quit. So the haters are the same thing, man. And people are going to hate on you when you start being yourself and being authentic and putting yourself out there. Man, people are going to hate on you. But nobody cares about the people that are hating on you. What they care about is, what about the people that you have a positive impact on, that actually get something from your message? And their lives are better because you actually put yourself out there and you had the courage to take a little bit of hate from these people who just sit around and hate on people because they're so miserable in their own lives, which is sad. You know what I mean? But I don't care. You shouldn't care either, okay? What else here? Winners live where quitters quit. That's a classic. Don't ever forget that, man. You got to just keep pushing forward because you know what? Even if somebody has way more talent than you, if they quit, guess what? You can outlast them and you can win and you can beat them. So just remember that. Winners live where quitters quit, okay? And what else? If you don't quit, you will make it big. That's another thing, guys. Don't quit. Doesn't matter where you're at. Just keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop. Don't quit. and everything's going to work just fine. Okay. And then lead your life right, and you can lead others to live their life right. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. Look, live your life right, and you can lead others to live their life right. Now, the only way you're going to be able to do that is you need to be an example of human excellence, which means people need to look at you and be like, man, I want to live like this guy. I want to live this guy's kind of life. And that's how you're going to be a good leader. And people are going to want to be like you, right? And it's not in an arrogant way. It's in a confident way, because you've worked so hard on so many different aspects of your life that it's like infectious, and people are like, ah, man, I want to be like that guy. I want to be on that guy's team. I want to do what they're doing, right? That's how you need to live your life, okay? Actually, I got one more, okay? One more here. Be a history book chaser, okay? A history book chaser, as in you want to be in the history books. Be in the history books of your family. Be somebody who breaks your generational curses. I'm a bloodline breaker. I'm breaking the generational curse of the Celts family. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm calling it out on this video. And I'm sure a lot of you who already know me, you already know that's what I'm doing. But guess what? We're just in the infancy stages right now. We're just in the baby stage. So we're just getting going. We're just getting started. But I just want you guys to remember, it all starts here. Remember, get that big dog mentality that I always tell you guys about. Big dog mentality, and keep pushing forward. Your mentality is everything, okay? One more, man. I gotta throw this one in here. Be a psycho competitor, who has an absence of an off switch, which means you don't turn it off. You're a psycho competitor. You got to figure out how you can win, how you can get better, how you can improve, how your life can get better, how the people around you can get better. How can you be a positive influence on your community, on your church, on your kids, on your family? Like, be a positive influence for change in the world, in a world full of darkness, right? Be that one person who is a light in the darkness. And guess what? You can see them, and it's like, oh man, I gotta go be around that guy because I want to see what's going on. And open up your eyes to the reality of what's actually around you and the beautiful world that we live in. Like I said, heaven on earth. Okay? All right, guys. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Love you guys.